Hi guys, Jate with spiritsvessel.com and the Spirits Vessel YouTube channel, and I am doing the tarot reading for Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, and Gemini Rising. It's a weekly tarot reading, and if you are Gemini Sun, Moon, Rising, you came in the right place, and if you're cross-watching for someone else that's a fellow Gemini, well then you're in the right place as well, because this is what your fellow Gemini person's going through. And so, I'm kind of tuning into your guys' energy. I think this full moon will be pretty cool for you guys. I think you guys have been there's a lot of energy going on. A lot of energy going on. And air signs love fire season. So I think you guys are really enjoying fire season. I think you guys are enjoying a lot of new relationships. I think you guys are having a lot of newness going on. Venus is in Leo, so I think that's probably been a fun thing for you guys. I can definitely see you guys getting into a new relationship at this point. And at the same time, Geminis tend to need evidence for everything because they're mercurial. And that's kind of how air signs are. They want to use their rationality and their logic and their reason. And I think this season is really asking you to maybe just go with your heart a little bit and just go on impulse more. And so I feel like that's really going to serve you during this full moon week. I think the full moon is going to benefit you guys a lot. If you have anything that's in 22 degrees of Gemini, then this full moon is going to be trining. So really flowy energy. I think you're going to really have a good idea of this next phase in your life and how you want to apply that to the collective, how you want to serve. Especially when we go into Virgo season, I think a lot of Geminis out there are kind of like, okay, I have all this information, now what do I do with it? A lot of people are going through that right now, but Geminis especially, I think you guys are like spinning on a hamster wheel. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do with all this? And you'll know. This full moon will really be cool for you guys. So I'm gonna pull a card out of the Santa Muerte Oracle deck and kind of get an overall kind of theme of what's going on this week for you guys. And okay, so I got number 10 in the Santa Muerte Oracle deck. Now, the interesting thing about the Santa Muerte Oracle deck is that it's broken up into 4 different parts, and the 4 parts are all representing different parts of creation, and more specifically, the spiritual and alchemical process of taking something from primordial nothingness and just raw power into something very physical. And it's based off the Kabbalah. And cards 9 through 16 all have to do with this creation part of reality. And so now that we've gotten this raw mystical power, if you will, or just, a lot of people call them downloads. You can almost think of them as like ideas. You guys might have been getting a lot of ideas that kind of seem to come from nowhere, just nowhere, and you're not really sure what to do with it. Well, you're starting to be on this process where the ideas are starting to form. And the number 10 on the Santa Muerte Oracle deck is the king of the dead in Aztec mythology. So Mictlantecuhtli, okay, and so basically, whenever you get this card in this deck, it's a death process of sorts. He is the king of the deepest part of the underworld. And so I think that's interesting, especially having this full moon in Aquarius. I'm thinking that this death process that's happening is something that's a collective belief that Geminis have been limiting themselves by. And I'm thinking that you guys are kind of going through this death process, if you will. I think it's a good thing. And I don't think it's, I don't think it's all that heavy. I think you guys are fully aware that you're having to go through a death process. It's interesting because Aquarius is kind of going through it, but not quite to this degree. I think you guys are really being aware that there's a collective consciousness you guys have been tapped into that is not serving you anymore. And you're turning it off. And you're right in that stage of when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and it has to I don't know if you know this, but like when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it like turns into this just like goop. It's just like nothingness. It's just like goop. I mean, seriously, it's just like a goop thing. And then it forms into the butterfly. You guys are in the goop right now, which is okay. Be in the goop. I think this is a good thing. Reorient your thoughts a little bit. It's kind of interesting, I think there's a lot of the air signs right now. It's really hard for me to like tune into you guys in the beginning because there's just a lot of noise going on, and I think you're realizing that. I think Geminis, I think the air signs in general, I think because of all the fire, air and fire makes boom boom, right? I mean that's what starts wildfires. So I think there's just a lot of energy going on. I think it's like really turning on air signs, and I think it's almost overwhelming. And I think that's why it's kind of hard tuning into you guys. And at the same time, there's all this nice fire energy, but you guys are just coming out of that July karmic cycle. And I think you guys have been kind of cocooning and kind of in this death process since then. A lot of people have. It's kind of interesting. We went through 2 eclipses that month, and then all of a sudden we're like in Leo season and everything's just like, all right, I'm here. I'm a Leo. The party. Where's the party? It's now. It's here. I'm the party. Kind of a weird energy to jump into, So I think you guys are really kind of slowing down as much as a Gemini can slow down. You guys don't really slow down all that much. But I think you guys are really kind of taking a step back. If you do have any new relationships that are starting right now, which wouldn't surprise me, I think you guys are really taking things slow, which is interesting because you guys are in this cocooning death process. And also be careful of any new relationships that happen right now, and make sure they're, falling in love with who you are now and not, this old identity that I think you're shedding. So I'm going to pull some cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot deck to kind of get some more details as to what is going on with this Oracle card and kind of just the overall energy of what's going on with you guys. So no cards were really popping out. So, and the cards are shuffling pretty well, so I think you guys are open to what I'm going to be seeing here. So let's see what the cards are saying. So interesting. The 5 of Swords, and the 5 cards in tarot are always kind of they're a grieving period. They're a grieving period. And it's kind of interesting with in this card with the worms, the sword's kind of going through that one worm, and it's going through the other worm. And then it kind of goes back to that caterpillar reference I was making before. I know worms and caterpillars aren't the same thing, but there's this, if you think about what worms do, they go and they dig through the dirt, and they go pretty deep in there. And I kind of feel like that's what's going on with you guys. Here's the thing, that I'm really picking up on. I'm really picking up on this very strongly, that you guys are purging a, I said it before, but it's a collective consciousness that you guys are purging, a deep one, a deep, deep one. I mean, we were already starting to purge this collective karma that was going on in July, but there's still a little bit left for you guys. And to be honest with you, I think, I think until we are in Sagittarius season and we're going to have a full moon in your sign, there's going to be a lot. You're going to still be your Gemini self, but I think you guys are just taking things a little bit slower because you're shedding right now and you're getting really deep, I mean, for Gemini, maybe deeper than you want to. And I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary if there's some Geminis out there that are going through some grief right now. Well, just remember that these things don't last, and then also remember that it's a collective thing that you're going through. It's not. Don't take it too personally. It's like a wave that you guys are going through. 3 of Swords in reverse. So yeah, you guys are really kind of, something's weighing really heavy on your heart right now. Really heavy on your heart right now. Let's see what else comes up. So Set of Pentacles in reverse, kind of like what I was talking about before. I think you guys are starting to slow down a little bit. I think you guys are starting to understand that maybe you should start sticking with things that are solid and stable, and don't just chase things that are glittery and pretty. Stick to what you know for a little bit. Doesn't have to last for too long, but I think you guys are really embodying that. Maybe there's a little bit of betrayal going on, and that's why you guys feel that way. The Hermit. So yeah, kind of like what I was saying before, I think you guys are really going through a process where you're really taking a step back, even though there's all this fire energy, and even though there's all these new opportunities that I really do see that there's a lot of opportunities that are being presented to you right now. I think you're really exhausted and you're just spending a whole lot of time just evaluating, not saying yes right away, being patient. I think you guys, and even though this is a good thing, it's a good thing to be patient. It's a good thing to evaluate, and it's a good time to spend, it's good to spend alone time. But I think you basically had to be pushed to be alone, because of all the pain you guys were going through. And what was causing that pain? Interesting. So the Strength card in reverse, you guys are, card of Leo. Hermit card was a card of Virgo. And so that could symbolize that there's a Virgo in your life that's really coming through while all this anxiety is happening in your life right now. Internally, you guys are feeling very strong. And I think that's because July was really intense for you guys. And, I think that I'm just feeling, just kind of the general feeling that I'm getting from the cards. I think that, Geminis tend to not want to deal with the heaviness of emotions. It stops their flow of energy. If Geminis get upset over something, they're upset for about 5 minutes and then they're like a hummingbird and something else gets their attention. But I think for a while you guys have been doing that and realizing that unfortunately that can work only for so long. If you want something real and tangible, you're going to have to deal with why certain things keep popping up in your life instead of just being like, well, that sucked, and then just moving on to the next thing. You're going to have to understand that you have a part to play in some of this as well. And I think you guys are understanding that. I think you guys are really owning that right now, which is good. Which is good. That's the cool thing. I love Geminis because you can really talk them through things and they want to talk about it. Air signs are great in that way. You know, you can really call them out on things and they don't, they're not like a water sign where they take it really personally. Not that every water sign takes it personally. You know, I'm generalizing here, but, um, air signs, if someone has a lot of air energy, they can really take a step back and be like, okay, yeah, I did have a part to play in that. I'm not going to be a victim about this. I'm going to be very real about this. And I'm going to own up to it. And I'm going to make a change. Ooh, interesting. 7 of Cups. Upright. A lot of different opportunities. None of them tangible. There's the only Pentacles card in this reading so far is the Son of Pentacles in reverse. So that's the grounding you're bringing into this reading. But this 7 of Cups to me does not, there's no clarity in any of this. This is a lot of fantasy. And I think this is what it feels like with you guys too. And there's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of, well, this could go good if there's no contracts yet. Nothing's really, ironed out yet. I think there's a lot of different directions you guys can go in right now. And like I was saying, I think there's a lot of different opportunities that have presented themselves. Here's the thing with the 7 of Cups, it's illusory. You might have a lot of opportunities that feel good in the talking of it because that's, air signs, fire signs. We love to talk about things. We love ideas. But after a certain point, you really have to make those ideas real. And so I think there's a lot of talk going on right now. And I think this is why you guys are being the hermit. Okay. I think there's a lot of talk about bullshit and you're like, I'm done with this. I want something real. I don't want all these cups floating around in the sky, okay? Because I don't know which cup is the one that I want to drink out of. There's too damn many cups. Which one? Don't worry. You guys will know soon. I believe that. Again, 8 of Wands. There's so much energy going on with you guys right now. Man. Are you guys on edge? I'm kind of feeling that way. Now that I'm getting more and more into this reading, I feel like a lot of this anxiety is just coming from all this energy that's going on. Part of it is the fact that you guys, Geminis, really want evidence before they make a decision on something. And this time, when you were in fire season, evidence is out the window. You live on impulse. Your heart wants to do something, and so you go out and do it, and you wait for the answers to come later. And I think a lot of you are actually doing that, and I think this is where your strength is coming from. It's just the fact that you're just going with what your heart tells you instead of trying to figure it out. I think you guys are tired of figuring it out because you're mentally exhausted from July. I think you guys are just like, I don't even care anymore. If I get an impulse to go drive to like Wichita, Kansas, and I live in California at 3:00 in the morning, I'm just going to do it because I tried to figure out so much shit in July and none of it worked. So who cares anymore? Oh man. Okay. What did I just say? I was talking about how there might be a new love interest. Okay, this is coming in upright. So whether or not this is a romantic interest, which I wouldn't be surprised if it is, or it's a new creative partnership, it's something that really makes you feel fulfilled emotionally. And I think, like I said, I think you guys are taking this very slowly. Not a bad thing, because if this is a romantic partnership, the right partner for you will appreciate you taking things slowly. They'll like that, because then that means that you want to build something real with them. And pay attention to that. If anyone's trying to push you or rush you into something, they might need to be cut during this full moon cycle. You might need to cut them. But I think, if this is a love interest, yeah, like, take things slow. But I think this is something that's really kind of nice and special and magical. And, I think for some of you, like, this new partnership that's coming in or has already come in, you're starting to be like, oh my God, I think this might be something serious. I think, like, you guys are like, why now? I'm not ready. Why are we doing this now? And I think that's not a bad thing, because, a lot of air signs and fire signs are guilty of this too, of doing things really hot and heavy in the beginning, and, and not having it be real and deep and slow. And maybe it's a good time to do things slowly. I think you guys are really wanting to do that at this point. Not a bad thing. Daughter of Swords in reverse. So, I think that's definitely energy that you have going on inside of you right now. And that Daughter of Swords, she's observing everything. She's observing everything. She's looking over every single detail. She's making a list and she's checking it twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And if this has to do with this new partnership, I think that embodying this energy of paying attention to the details and taking note of any discordant energy, anything that's not in alignment, I don't think you're being nitpicky at this point. I think that's actually really good energy to have, especially because I think some of you Geminis out there have been manipulated in the past, and it was because you turned off the not the one thing, but one of the things that makes your sign so beautiful is your attention to detail. You guys are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury's very fast moving, very analytical, very detail oriented. And I think, some of you guys had turned that off. And I don't know why that is. And it could be because you were getting gaslighted a lot, and that can be, really frustrating if you're in a situation that you can't get out of right away and you're being gaslighted. Sometimes we turn off our awareness just to make the pain stop. It doesn't actually stop, we just kind of numb out. But I think you guys are really turning that back on, which is good. Boundaries. You guys are having boundaries right now. And the Son of Cups coming in reverse. So you guys are feeling it's so interesting. It's like you guys are going, it's so Gemini, right? You've got 5 different things going on all at once. You guys are going through the death process. You also have a whole lot of these opportunities that are being presented in your life. All of them seem pretty okay. None of them are actually clear though. And some of them, I think there's a few of them where you're like, geez, I don't really know about this. But I think a lot of them, it's really easy for you to see the potential in it. And that's what's kind of frustrating, because if you can't make a decision because there's so many good ones, there's no forward momentum. You have to make a decision on something. So there's a whole lot of that energy going on. On top of the cocooning, the death process you're going through, this being in this cocoon, this new identity that's forming, and this new love interest that I think is coming from this new identity. And make sure they're falling in love with your new identity and you being very strong in this new identity. Very interesting reading. You guys are going through, I think, all this fire energy is really stirring you guys forth. And the pain, I want to say the pain is holding you back, but that's not really the case. It's more like you guys got burned, and so you're like, well, it's not like I'm not going to touch that stove again, but I'm going to wear some gloves or something. I'm going to have some protective equipment on, or, I'm going to get, maybe I don't have to touch the stove. Maybe there's a way to go about this where I'm not getting burned. And so that's why you guys are really slowing down, really going inward, and really using that Gemini brain to your advantage. Because there's some things that it's good to figure it out. Put that mind to good use. Instead of having it turn against you. You're having it figure out, it's like, okay, mind, tell me how we go about this next stage where I'm in my power and I'm in my authenticity and I'm building something real. I'm not, there's no castles in the sky here. Everything's very real. Everything's very tangible. And I can use my skill set and my attention to detail and my quickness and my wit to serve. This is what you're going through this month. By the time we're in Virgo season, Mercury rule time, you guys are going to be pretty much in your element, because there's, Virgo and Mercury, or Virgo and Gemini, both ruled by Mercury. You guys are going to understand and start to make real all the ways in which you wish to serve. And taking this, stepping out of this cocoon process. I think this is the first step of it. I think, like I said, when we get to that full moon in Gemini in Sagittarius season, that's when the final kind of whatever little nagging things are there from this eclipse cycle in July, you'll wrap that up. But I think you're wrapping up a lot of stuff right now, So cool. Okay, well, that's the Gemini weekly reading. If you found that this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting weekly readings every week. I'll do each element on a different day. And yeah, and then check out my website if you'd like a personal reading. And I also do astrological charts as well. And I'll be posting an astrological analysis of this week and the full moon energy tomorrow. So if you like and subscribe, YouTube will notify you of that. Anyways, I enjoyed your guys' reading. I hope this week delivers everything you needed to. And with that, I'm out of here. Bye.